The 2023 NFL draft class is 1 year into their NFL careers, and some players are off to very promising starts. Guys like Stroud and Will Anderson, who won the Offensive and Defensive Rookie of the Year awards, look to be franchise cornerstones and guys the Texans will build around for the next 5+ years. In today's video, we will be breaking down not just Stroud's future, but several other players from this class based on how their rookie year went, and discuss what type of impact they'll have long term. We did a video like this about a month ago on guys like Bryce Young, Jordan Addison, Bijan Robinson, and more, and because the 2023 class was so loaded, I wanted to do another video like this with guys like Stroud, Jahmyr Gibbs, and a few others too. This will be a 2 or 3 year projection for most of the players in today's video, and it will include what we can expect out of these guys statistically, whether or not they can win a Super Bowl, and a whole lot more. Now let's begin. We are starting today's video with Rams wide receiver Puka Nacua. Puka finished his rookie year with over 100 receptions, over 1,400 yards, and was a second-team All-Pro. He also set 4 NFL records during his rookie season, which were most receptions in a rookie year, most receiving yards in a rookie year, most receptions by a rookie in a game with 15, and most receiving yards in a playoff game with 181. This was after being a 5th-round pick in the 2023 draft and after being the 177th player selected. With Cooper Kupp missing 5 games last year, somebody on the Rams receiving core had to step up, and it was Puka. He finished the year with 7 100-yard games, and for him to do this at just 22 years old as a rookie is nothing short of incredible, and his future looks very bright. The Rams put up over 400 points as an offense last year and finished 8th in points per game, and there's no reason to suggest they can't, or won't, be great offensively again in 2024. They have 10 of 11 starters back, with the only player leaving being former center Coleman Shelton, who is now a Bear. Meaning, I would expect the same level of success this year offensively from the Rams, if not better, because for as good as Puka was in 2023, a lot of the Rams' success came with Kyren Williams running the football effectively. When Kyren missed 4 games during the middle of the year, the team went just 1-3 and averaged less than 16 points per game. Granted, one start was with Brett Rypien under center, but the point is, the Rams struggled. And how this plays into Puka having a good 2024 and 2025 is a healthy Rams offense benefits everyone, including Puka, who had just 15 catches for 172 yards in the 4 games Kyren was out, which was undoubtedly his least productive 4-game stretch of his entire rookie year. If the Rams stay healthy for the most part in 2024, I think Puka will have similar success for a few reasons. The first, of course, is he had 160 targets last year and had over 100 receptions, meaning Matt Stafford clearly trusts him and the volume should be there in year 2. And why wouldn't it be? Is Sean McVay going to tell Matt to throw the ball more to Demarcus Robinson than Puka in any year moving forward? No. Now, the 105 receptions part may go down a bit, just because of how hard that is to sustain year after year after year, but for 24 and 25 specifically, Puka will be a productive player, and he is in one of the best situations a young receiver could possibly be in. Matt Stafford has played with some great receivers over his career, whether it was Calvin Johnson in Detroit or Cooper Kupp, who won the Triple Crown in 2021, or Puka, and the reality is, when Stafford trusts a number 1 receiver, they will continuously get the football, and Puka will be no exception. And even if Puka doesn't get the football as much as he should in 2024, then Cooper Kupp will have a 1,000-yard year. The only concern I have with Puka moving forward is what his quarterback play will look like after Matt Stafford retires, and we of course have no idea when that will happen. But it is worth noting that Stafford is 36 years old and will not play forever. My projection for Puka in 2024 is a 100-catch, 1,300-yard, 9-10 touchdown year, along with another playoff appearance. Puka is a very talented player and his energy is contagious, and I cannot wait to see how his career plays out. Next up is Ravens receiver Zay Flowers. Zay was a really good receiving prospect coming out of Boston College, and he finished his rookie year with over 850 yards and 5 receiving touchdowns. He also added a rushing touchdown and had 56 rushing yards for a 914 total yard rookie season. Zay was the leading receiver on a team that went to the AFC Championship game and hauled in passes at a very good rate of 71.3%. He had just 108 targets last year, and with the flashes he showed throughout the year, I would be surprised if that number doesn't increase in 2024. Flowers is the best receiver on the Ravens roster, and despite the Ravens running the football as much as they do, due in large part to two-time MVP quarterback Lamar Jackson, you may be surprised to know that Zay Flowers still had 5 games with 10 or more targets in his rookie year, and despite Puka setting multiple records during his rookie year, Puka only had 6 games with 10 or more targets last year. The one big thing with Zay Flowers, and why it's a little tricky to project what he can do moving forward, is due to how much Baltimore runs the football. And because of that, I would be very surprised if Zay ever finishes in the top 3 or 4 of any major receiving category in a season, despite him being the number 1 receiver on one of the best teams in football. Statistically speaking, I think Zay will get his first of multiple 1,000-yard years this year, and with Lamar Jackson only being 27 years old, this is a player who I feel comfortable saying should be a Raven for a long time. Puka, in theory, should and probably will be a Ram for a long time, but like we said, the quarterback in the post-Matt Stafford era is going to be interesting to see how they go about that, but the Ravens signed Lamar to an extension last offseason that will keep him in Baltimore through the 2027 season, and that's also when Zay Flowers' contract will end, at least assuming the Ravens pick up his 5th-year option, which at this point, I would assume they do. Zay's production at times throughout his rookie year was very sporadic, but with the glimpses he showed of the player he can be in the future, meaning 2024 and beyond, I can't imagine Todd Monken doesn't try and get him the football more in year 2 than he did in year 1. For reference, Zay had a 2-game span against the Cardinals and Seahawks where he had a combined 6 catches for 30 yards, but had 4 for 75 in the game before that against Detroit, and 5 for 73 against Cleveland after it. Flowers ended his rookie season on a positive note as he had 70 or more yards in 3 of the final 4 games, including a 115-yard game in the AFC Championship game against the Chiefs. Now, we know Zay had a pretty big fumble against Kansas City in that game, and even the taunting penalty, but I don't think that's going to linger over into 2024, or that that's going to get in his head or anything like that. To me, that showed a player that plays with fire and a guy who is passionate as hell about what he does and truly loves the game. I really think Zay Flowers' 2024 season will look something like an 85-catch, 1,100-yard, 7-touchdown year. The Ravens are a younger franchise, and it would not surprise me at all if Zay Flowers ends up with a lot of the Ravens' receiving records. To Detroit to discuss the dynamic running back Jahmyr Gibbs. Jahmyr finished his rookie year with over 1,200 yards from scrimmage and 11 total touchdowns and played a big part in the Lions going to the NFC Championship game. There can be scrutiny around a team selecting a running back in the first round in today's era, and there was with Gibbs going number 12 overall, but the Lions were a tremendous landing spot for him because they had everything in place. They had a good quarterback in Jared Goff, and they had a great offensive coordinator in Ben Johnson, and they have a great offensive line. And despite Ben Johnson being linked to a few head coaching jobs this offseason, he opted to remain in Detroit, and their offense looks as potent as ever. Now, if the Lions stay relatively healthy offensively this year, I think it would be a pretty disappointing year for them if they finish outside the top 5 or 6 in points per game. For Jahmyr Gibbs specifically, I don't think his production is going to be top 2 or 3 in the league at the running back position, but that's okay, and the Lions have several other options to go to offensively, and I think that will also benefit Jahmyr Gibbs in the long run. Jahmyr Gibbs had 52 receptions as a rookie in 2023, but what needs to be remembered or at least contextualized within that is he had 8 games with 3 receptions or less in the 15 he played. Now, the Lions, of course, took some slack for drafting a running back in the top 12 picks, but I absolutely loved this selection because the Lions can choose to play Jahmyr Gibbs whenever they want. He's not going to be a 350 or 400 touch a year guy, and he's not going to be done playing running back by the age of 24 or 25. They have a real chance here to be able to fully utilize Jahmyr Gibbs and have him be in Detroit for the next 5 or 6 years. Now, we're of course not going to project what he's going to do in the 2028 or 2029 season, but I do think Jahmyr will have a longer career than most running backs in today's era. What also needs to be remembered for Jahmyr Gibbs, not just in 2024, but in 2025, 26, 27, maybe even beyond that, is he's going to be teammates with Amon-Ra St. Brown and Sam Laporta for a long time. All 3 of these guys are 25 years old or younger, and if Amon-Ra catches 115 passes per year, and if Laporta catches another 90 passes per year, that right there is 200 plus touches that will be taken out of Jahmyr Gibbs' hands. But that's completely fine, especially when you factor in that the Lions are probably going to be competing for Super Bowls. Having said this, from a statistical standpoint, I don't think Jahmyr will ever be a 1,500-yard running back per year, but I fully expect him to have 1,500 or 1,600 total yards, at least in one, if not multiple seasons moving forward. But to be completely honest, I don't think he'll ever be one of the top 2 or 3 running backs in total production on a per-year basis, which is completely fine, because the Lions are going to be doing everything they can to keep him healthy for when the games really matter in late January, as we just saw this past year. So I love Jahmyr Gibbs, love his future. I just don't think he's going to be as productive as other backs, but like we said, I don't think the Lions are going to care about Jahmyr's stats whenever they are competing for Super Bowls or getting really close like they did last year, and to be completely honest, I would be floored if the Lions missed the playoffs this year. From the Motor City to the Space City we go to discuss Coleridge Bernard Stroud IV. CJ's rookie season was incredibly fun for Texans fans, and really NFL fans, as CJ played a huge part in bringing the Texans back to relevance, and Texans fans are hoping 2024 will be the first year they not only reach the AFC Championship game for the first time, but the Super Bowl too. And if I were a Texans fan, I'd be thinking the exact same thing. Stroud finished his rookie year with over 4,100 yards passing, along with 23 touchdowns, and won the Offensive Rookie of the Year. He also won his first playoff game over the Browns in the wildcard round with a score of 45-14 before losing to the Ravens in the divisional round of the playoffs. One of the most impressive things about Stroud's rookie year was how much maturity and intelligence he played with as a 22-year-old rookie. He threw 499 passes in 2023, and only 5 of those were intercepted, which is unheard of. Hell, most veterans and MVPs don't have seasons like that, really outside of a prime Aaron Rodgers. Now, I do expect Stroud's interception numbers to go up a little bit as his career progresses, because he can throw multiple interceptions in a game that hits the receiver between the numbers only for it to bounce into a DB's arms, meaning a 5-interception season is not normal. But the point is, if you want to project the brightest future for CJ imaginable, whether it's him winning a Super Bowl or him winning an MVP, or both, you can and nobody would bat an eye. And one big thing that will be brought up during the 2024 Texans team preview is the Texans' offensive line was very injured last year, and we saw that impact the run game in a big way. You know, the run game that's not just a quarterback's best friend, but in particular, a young quarterback's best friend. Houston finished 29th in yards per carry last year as a team, and while I don't think Joe Mixon is an elite running back, I would be surprised if the Texans finished 29th in yards per carry in 2024. And in turn, this should help CJ because the opposing defenses can't just key in on the passing game like they could at times last year. If CJ plays all 17 games, I would be surprised if he throws for less than 4,000 yards and 27 or 28 touchdowns, and to be completely honest, I think that should be his floor based on what he showed as a rookie. I really think CJ could throw for 46 or 4,700 yards this year, and I really think he can throw for 33 or 34 touchdowns on his way to a second straight division title. The Texans recently extended receiver Nico Collins, and they also traded for star receiver Stephon Diggs this offseason, in addition to having a rookie Tank Dell go for over 700 yards and 7 touchdowns in the first 11 games of his career. Dalton Schultz is not an elite tight end, but you have to account for him too, and within all of this, the Texans play caller is regarded as one of the best presumable head coaching candidates for the 2025 cycle in Bobby Slowick. CJ had a phenomenal rookie year last year, and with his offensive line hopefully staying healthy, a better running back, another good receiver, and another year of familiarity in the offense, the sky is the limit for CJ and the Texans. I think Stroud will start a streak of 25-plus passing touchdown seasons this year and continue the streak for not just 1 or 2 years, but maybe even 7 or 8 or even a decade. I hope you enjoyed, and if you did, please like and subscribe, as only about 35% of people watching are subscribed, and it helps the channel tremendously. If you like this content, please check out the Football Analysis Podcast for more content. The link is in the description, and until next time, be safe and have a great day. Love you guys.